Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So yesterday we got a soft start to harvest started. We got 120 acres of soybeans cut. Now we did have to get the combines ready. I didn't make any videos on that because there wasn't much to do to them to get them ready to go to the field. The 2388 had a couple issues last year, but we fixed those before we put it in the shed. So it's pretty much get it out of the shed, fuel it, and go. It's not ready for an oil change yet. We're going to do that after we're done with soybeans. I changed the oil in the deer and it was ready to go. I just had to fix one small hole in the one rotor cover. I don't know what caused it, but it was on top. Fixed that, got that done. So nothing exciting there. So this is my first season cutting soybeans with the John Deere 9650. If you remember right, when we got it, we were done with soybeans. We went straight to corn with it. And then last year, I didn't get to cut hardly any soybeans at all because we were in the middle of doing my basement for our new house. So Dad pretty much cut all the soybeans with the 2388. I only cut a couple nights worth. I cut maybe 20-30 acres, so I didn't really get to cut many soybeans at all last year, which is very unusual for me because I'm usually cutting about half of the soybean crop every year. Dad cuts half, I cut about half. So we're gonna get started here this morning again. I'm waiting for it to dry up a little bit. The sun's out, we got a nice little breeze going on. The soybeans are pretty dry, but they did gain a little bit of moisture in the pods overnight. We had a little bit of dew, made them tough to come out of the pods, but the grain itself has been around 10% moisture, so they're pretty dry. And it is pretty dry out here. This is the plow day field, if you didn't recognize it. There's 120 acres here between the big field here, and then it goes behind the woods, and there's another 20 back there. So that's what we cut yesterday. Unfortunately, my air conditioner is not working and my header control is not working. I got to figure out those. Probably going to call John Deere and see if they can give me some pointers on the header control as to why it's not working. I'm not very familiar with the Deere combine and the header control. Know the red combine's inside and out, and I know the old Gleaner's inside and out when it comes to header control, but the Deeres are a little bit different. So I'm going to ask some questions on that. And it's not too bad to run it without the header control. It'd just be nice to have it, so it automatically, the head just floats across the ground for those of you that don't understand what I'm talking about. But at least fore and aft, up and down, all that works on the reel. I was happy with that. And this combine likes to eat soybeans. I was really impressed with it. I know I'm talking about this combine's 22 years old, but it's pretty new to me compared to the L2 Gleaners that I have. It's a lot newer than those. But anyways, probably not going to run Gleaners and soybeans this year. I rented out my 25-foot head that goes on my L2 to my Uncle Jamie. He needed a second head, so he asked me if he could use that one, and I said sure. So he's got it. He's going to run it on his 1680. We did leave that head so that it would easily go back and forth between Gleaner or Case IH, and even the header control will all work. So anyways, I'm going to get my combine unloaded, and then I'm going to go maybe try to cut some ends off of the next field. So let's get started. I'm going to video today, and we'll see what we can get done. It's just Dad and I today. It is Saturday and George's not working, so we'll see what Dad and I can get done. So with saying the whole Gleaner thing about not cutting beans with one this year, I do plan on picking corn with them. So it's going to give me a little time to get the hydrostat swapped out in L2 number 1. And I got a power steering hose to fix in the M3. His dad moved it the other day. Couldn't believe it. That combine started right up after setting for almost a year and a half without being run. Started right up, drove it around, he turned with it, and it popped the power steering line, which I've had that happen on L2 number 1. It's kind of not a fun job because the hoses run all the way from the steering column all the way back to the engine, to the hydraulic pump. It's not a bad job, it just takes time to do it. So when I got a little bit of time, I'm going to get them hoses swapped out, and then the M3 will be ready to go. I just have to take the head off of the L2 on tracks and put back on the M3. So I do plan on picking some corn with them, so there will be some Gleaner action at some point this fall. So we'll get these unloaded, and probably another 15-20 minutes we can get started. It's pretty nice having a good sunny day like today, and the breeze that we've got is really going to help dry them down pretty quick. It's amazing how quick a soybean can lose moisture. Taking it nice and easy so we're not bouncing too many out on our wind straps. Kind of scatter these dry ones out through the load, and if we have any little bit moist ones from the next field over, we'll scatter them above the top of those, and then they'll kind of transfer moisture back and forth and average out the load moisture wise. Well, we're going to get started here. Get in off the road. Sticks and stuff right here, gotta be careful with. That auger hits the bottom of the floor for some reason. I gotta figure that one out. It's only if you raise the head kind of high. There's not much right here in the shade. To get this corner cut off here so we can get the grain cart and the trucks in. I missed this one strip when I was spraying my first pass, and I came back my second pass and sprayed it. It's just this one corner here. Felt kind of dumb, but out of all the acres I sprayed, that was about the only spot that I missed, so I guess I can't feel too bad about it. I think that's hitting. It's hitting the shield on the front of the feeder house. Bet if I adjusted that with a hammer, it would probably not be an issue. Adjust that here a little bit. It's still a little tough. I think I confused myself when I was spraying. Where am I going in there? Yeah, a little tough yet. I should have went straight off this tree line right here straight through the whole entire field, and I didn't. And I thought I did when I sprayed my ends. That's alright. It's gonna shade out anyways. So many trees right here. That'll get us started. Well, we got a good start here. They're drying quick. They're running real nice. Got a couple passes over from the woods out of the shade. Got some nice looking tall soybeans. There's just not as much action that goes on in front of the combine with soybeans as with corn. Corn seems like it's more exciting to video. I will say I really do like this John Deere combine. Wasn't sure what I was going to think of cutting beans with a Deere, but I like it. And I grew up with the red combines, and then, oh, what's it been, 5-6 years ago? Actually, it's been a little longer than that. About 7 years ago, I bought the L2 Gleaner on an auction, and it was a friend of ours' his auction. Unfortunately, he had to quit farming due to a stroke, and unfortunately, he passed a couple of years ago, but he owned that L2 from about the time it was new until the auction. So I believe I'm third owner of it. The first owner didn't have it very long, but Jack bought it, and that's what he cut all the soybeans with. And originally, when I bought that combine, I bought it just for the engine and the tires, because we actually have a power unit for irrigation that runs that same engine as in that L2. So it is a late model L2 with a saddle tan interior for those of you who haven't been following my channel that long. And that is the combine that I converted to Case IH heads. Well, anyways, I bought it, and I was on my way home with it. We got it running because it was sold as non-running on the auction. Got it running, the air conditioner was working on the way home, and it came with bean head, just a 20-foot Gleaner head. Wasn't something very fancy. I mean, it worked, but it just didn't shave the ground like a Case 1020 head did. So anyways, got it running, brought it home, lubed everything up, got the separator running, and I took it out and started cutting some beans with it. I told Dad, I said, I'm going to give this old combine a shot. You know, I got $1,500 in it. At the time, we only run the 1660, so I thought, why not? Be a second machine. Well, anyways, I ran it, fell in love with it, got with my friend that worked at Case Dealer, and I said, hey, find me a 1020 25-foot head, and we'll put a Case head on it. So Dad's strength and I, this was back when he was working for us, him and I took it in the shop, and we took the front feeder house plate off of a 1440 International combine, and we welded that to the thrasher housing of the L2. Got the right degree of angle we needed on the face to make the right pitch for the head, and we got the Gleaner micro switches for the header control. We stripped that off the old Gleaner head, and we put it on the end of the 1020 Case head. We actually used the indicator that is already on the end of the head to move the micro switches. Dad's strength made me up some linkage. We wired it all up, and we had header control. I did have to rewire the header control and the side console on the Gleaner because the mice, they peed around the base of the relay in there, and they ruined it. and I was able to find a new base for that relay, which I believe somebody told me was obsolete through Gleaner, but I sourced it from an online company and they was able to come up with one, and I got the header control all to work. And I also got a couple spare relays for the header control for a Gleaner that I found in a couple parts combines. I got a couple spare ones of those because supposedly those are obsolete also. But I cut a lot of soybeans with that combine. Got the air conditioner. Well, it did eventually quit, but I got it working again. And man, that combine will freeze you out of the cab. I mean, it is like opening the door in a frozen fruit section in a grocery store when it's working right. Got very cold air conditioning. But still got that combine, still got all the other ones. I know a lot of viewers ask me if I still have the Gleaners, and I still have the Gleaners. It's just with the house build and moving and all that, I got behind in keeping them up. I have full intentions on getting them going again because I consider them my wet ground combines, and we still are farming a lot of wet ground, a lot of muck, so I need to keep them going because it is much easier to take one of them out in the muck, because for one thing they float so well, and another thing, if they do get stuck, they come out easy. So definitely, for what I got in them, it's not worth getting rid of them. It's kind of what I built this YouTube channel on, really, was the Gleaner combines, it seems like. That and some other things. But yeah, they will be back out and about. But the handwriting was kind of on the wall with the amount of acreage that we were farming. I needed to get another large size combine like 9650. And really, this deal, my buddy Drew Swanson from Castonia John Deere, he got us this deal on this combine. It all worked out at the right time at the right place. The rotor cage had all busted out of the 1660, so we were relying on just the 2388 and my Gleaners, and the M3 Gleaner that had kind of taken place of the 1660 in the corn. The shaft across the bottom of the thrasher housing had broken, and we were picking corn and we needed to keep going. And I told Dad, I said, I got to come up with another combine. So I was sitting in the grain cart looking at Marketplace, going to buy probably another cheap Gleaner if I could find one. And my phone rings and it's Drew, and he's like, hey, he's like, do you want a John Deere 9650 STS by chance? I said, well, how much? And he's like, I can get it for you for 20 grand. I said, I will go look at it this evening. So I went and looked at it and decided that I wanted it. Really nice combine, higher hour, but well taken care of. I can deal with high hours as long as it's well taken care of. So we liked it, we bought it. I ended up buying the two heads. They came separately. Got the corn head and the bean head with it, and it all worked out great. Really liked it. Do I still like a case combine? Yes. There is nothing wrong with a case combine. Still love our 2388. I'll run it any day of the week. And there's no law that says you can't have a green one and a red one on the same farm, or a green one, red one, and silver one on the same farm. It kind of comes down to really, keeping parts on hand for them. And that's the tough part with a Gleaner in our areas. There's not a dealer in our area, like local, that is a Gleaner dealer. So I gotta source parts from like Shoops or some online places. There is one dealer in Napanee that I'd have to drive to. It's like 50 miles, but it's easier to really go to Shoops and just have it. We can have it the next day shipped to us. Doesn't take much to get it here because they're only in Kankakee, Illinois, and we're in Knox, Indiana, so we're not too far apart. But least with the case and the deer, we've got a deer dealer in Knox, deer dealer in Winnemac. Got the case dealer right next to the deer dealer in Winnemac, and we got a case dealer in Plymouth. So, you know, within a half hour we can have case parts or we can have John Deere parts. So that's kind of what the determining factor was on the next combine we got, was just parts availability. I did demo the S68 Gleaner. Wasn't extremely impressed with it, but then again, I don't know if it was properly set up. But it was a nice combine in general. Had a draper head with it. I got older videos way back of that. But the price on it was just way too much at the time. Wanted $115,000 for the combine, and I can't justify spending that kind of money on a combine because, let's face it, it's only a tool that you use maybe 2 months out of the year. You can't plant with it, you can't do tillage work with it, so, you know, why get a lot of money wrapped up in it? Oh, we need to go dump. We're about full. So yeah, that's a little backstory on the first L2 Gleaner. It never was really meant to use... Oh, wrong button. That was real. It never really was going to be used, but on the way home I realized, hey, this thing's got some potential. Let's turn the camera here and we'll... Should get the auger on video. Oh yeah, there it is. Go over here and dump in the grain cart real quick. "30-foot head, that auger gets short real quick." And then I guess I decided on the other Gleaner combines, one of them, one of the ladies that worked at Stark County Co-op, it was her grandpa's and her dad had it in the shed, and she wanted to know if I was interested in it for parts. Well, it is an older L2, it's got the short shoe, black cab, so I bought it kind of for parts, tried to get it running right. It's got an injector pump issue or an injector issue or something. So that machine, we're probably going to just tear down the rest of the way for parts, use that engine for the power unit that we were going to use L2 number 1's engine for. But that power unit's been hanging in there. Thought we were going to have to replace it by now, but it's been running pretty good. Then the other two combines, the M3 and the L2 on tracks, they both came from a local guy right there in English Lake, actually right at the end of the ditch from where we just done the big pump structure. That, by the way, there's 4 more videos of that to come. If you haven't checked that video out, you're going to want to watch that series on the mega pump. That was pretty cool excavating work that we done there, and some pretty cool work of rigging and pulling and moving large things. But anyways, at the end of the ditch right there, that's where the M3 and the L2 came from. I bought the L2 originally from him, and then he had an auction, and I bought the M3 on the auction. And those two, he was the original owner. So I am the second owner of those two. I did find that out. It's kind of cool because poked up in behind the one, the air vent for the outside air to come in the cab, I found an old Polaroid picture of Dennis and the combine brand new. Thought that was kind of cool. So, all right, that's enough of me talking for a while. Let's get back to cutting. Well, we got that field done. Now we're moving over to the 35-acre field. I planted between these fields just for the heck of it. Sometimes it grows something, sometimes it don't. And actually, it made a few soybeans this year. So we're going to get it moved over here, and we're going to cut off all of our ends. And then we're going to run the trucks into the elevator and dump them. Come back, Madison's waiting there to get Dad and I and run us back down to the semi. She brought us lunch because my mom has my little nephew, so she's babysitting. And it's Saturday, so Madison's not working at her job, so she's available. This is the parking lot for plow day. So actually we might have plow day next year in a different location, not too extremely far from here. But my Uncle Jamie started farming his grandpa's farm, and he's got, well, I think there's a total of 600 acres he farms, and there's about 165 of it that he'd like to moldboard plow. So he told me that if I wanted to, we could host plow day there. We kind of wanted to do a 2-day plow day this year. So what we might do is we might have plow day here also, and then have plow day there on the second day. Our thoughts were if we could do a 2-day plow day, then guys could come one day. If they can't come the other day, gives them 2 chances the same weekend. Or if they want to swap out a tractor and bring another tractor for the next day. So I kind of want to make it a little more universal, because I know there's always a conflict. It always seems like it's a one-day conflict. So if we do a 2-day thing, then that gives everybody a chance to come. And I'd like to do that, because then I'd like to see everybody come that can possibly come. And also I want to open it up to all tillage equipment. So if you want to bring a field cultivator or a disc, and you can do that at any of our plow days, it doesn't matter. You can bring a disc, field cultivator, spike tooth harrow, I don't care. Whatever you want to bring, you can do that. Or if you want to bring a planter and demonstrate a planter, you know, of course it's early spring, so I mean it's not like you can really plant anything, but you can still pull it around like they do it like Rand Tool. So we want to kind of do something like that. Now it's all proposed right now. It's not set in stone, but we've talked about it, and we will talk about this. It'll be in its own video whenever we decide to have plow day next year. I think a 2-day event would be fun. I mean, last plow day we had here this spring, I had to laugh because everybody was so eager to plow that they just took off and went and plowed, and I didn't get to do a little speech. I wanted to thank everybody for coming before we started, but it was just like a bunch of pirates. They all just took off and went crazy, which is fine. Everybody had fun, but I didn't get to really talk to everybody before we started to thank everyone for coming. And I tried to catch everybody at the end to thank everybody as many as I could, but some snuck out and left, and so I'd like to, just take a minute right now and thank everybody that comes to plow days. I mean, without you guys, we wouldn't have a plow day. I mean, it's really about getting together and everybody having fun and enjoying the day. And I really appreciate you all coming out. And I want to continue to do it. Try to attract even more, get more varieties. I like to see everything. One guy thought that it was only open to John Deere tractors, and that's why he didn't come. I'm like, oh, no, you can bring whatever you want. Whatever you want. If somebody found a big bud, they could bring it. I don't care. We'll take it all. Got a little bit of water hemp situation here. I even sprayed this twice. I think it came in a little bit late. That's been an issue with a lot of farmers in the area, water hemp. That's enough to get the trucks in. Alright, time to go dump them. Well, everything's going so far so good this afternoon. Dad and I about got the 35-acre field wiped out here. Have a little bit of volunteer corn in this field. Had some that blew over last year, had a little bit of ear drop. That's why there's volunteer corn out here. It's not too bad. Actually, the spray injured it and it didn't put an ear on. Kinda wish it would have put an ear on. Sell lots of soybeans too. Nobody's gotta know. You're allowed so many percentage of damage or foreign material. Never heard of a load of soybeans getting rejected for volunteer corn. It just doesn't really happen. The soybeans that we haul in most of the time are going for bean meal anyways for chicken feed. So they're going to get passed through a chicken anyway, so what's it hurt if there's a little corn in there? The windows are getting dirty. Just clean them. Definitely going to get the AC fixed in this combine the next rain day that we have. It's like 85 outside, and when you go outside, it feels cooler than being inside this cab. So it's got to be pretty warm in here. I don't have a thermometer, but it's pretty warm. I mean, my air is blowing, but it's not cold air. That's alright. They didn't have air conditioning 50 years ago, so makes it more nostalgic. I wonder what the first John Deere combine was to have air conditioning. I don't know if the old like 55s and 45s, I don't know if them ever had air. Never been around them enough to know. I believe like the yellow top 4400s, 6600s, all of them I think had air. I'm sure somebody in the comments below can answer that question for me. When did John Deere start a factory air conditioning system on a combine? I guess when did Case do it also? I didn't realize till Clifton and I were talking about it the other day on our way home from Rantoul. I haven't realized how long the axial flow Case combine or international combine has been around. They've been around for a long time. Because Clifton was asking me, he's like, is the axial flow old enough to be at Rantoul? And looked it up, and sure is. They've been around for a long time. I think there's did I watch it on YouTube or did I read it on a Facebook post? There was pictures of the first axial flow rotary combine, and they actually did extensive testing on it before anybody ever knew that it was going to be a thing. They like used movie cameras and everything else to figure out different things about, you know, they videoed how the feeder house worked, got it all on video. I guess they played it in slow motion so they could see exactly how it was working. It was pretty interesting. I think it might have been a YouTube video on it. Camera's getting hot, so it said video quality could be a problem. Huh. So it must be pretty warm in here. Alright, I'll give the camera a break and let it cool off.